Hello students, good morning. This is me your science teacher. Welcome back to the science class. We were discussing about the fifth chapter, that is separation of substances. In part 1 we have discussed about the meaning of separation along with the different types of separation, that is hand picking, winnowing and threshing. Today in our part 2 we are going to discuss few more methods of separation. Are you ready? Objectives of the today's class are, we are going to discuss about sieving, sedimentation and decantation, then filtration. At last, we are going to discuss about evaporation. These all are the different methods of separation. Let us understand the meaning of these along with the examples. Get ready. Is sieving. Sieving is the very common method. Let us see about it. Sometimes we may wish to prepare a dish with flour. Every day we used to prepare one or the other dish by using flour. For example, puri or chapati, roti, talipat. All these things are prepared by using flours. We need to remove the impurities and bran that may be present in it. What do? We use sieve and pour the flour into it. Sieving allows the fine flour particles pass through the holes of the sieve, while the bigger impurities remain on the sieve. In a flour mill, impurities like husk and stones are removed from wheat before grinding it. Usually, a bag full of wheat is poured on a slanting sieve. The sieving removes pieces of stones, stalk, and husk that may still remain with the wheat after threshing and winnowing. You may have also noticed similar sieves being used at construction sites to separate pebbles and stones from sand. Sieving is the very simplest method, which is done by using the instrument called as sieve. I will give you a very simple example. While preparing chapati, before kneading the flour, before making dough, your mother is to sieve with a siever. Right? ಹಿಟ್ಟು ಚಾಣಿಸ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿರಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಮೂತ್ ಪೌಡರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಔಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ sieve. Okay, then the heavier substance or impure substance will remain on the upper part of the sieve, right? Let us see the examples of sieving. Here you can see two different ways to sieve the things. In our first example, these two person are sieving the sand. Here, small sand particle is falling down from the sieving machine, whereas the heavier stones and pebbles, which are not necessary, will remain in the sieve. Here, it depends upon the size of the particle. If the size of the particle is very small than the whole of a sieve, then that particle will come out of the sieve. And this is the most common example which we can see in our kitchen every day. Here, the smooth powder of the flour will comes out of the siever. If the particle is, the impure substance is in bigger size than the whole of a sieve, it remains in the sieve. Okay. This is the very simplest method of removing the two mixtures based on the size. If the particle is smaller, it comes out from the siever with the help of the holes. If the large particles which is in bigger size than the whole of a siever, it remains in the sieving machine. Hope you understood the sieving method. There is one more method of sieving. Means sieving is same, but here he is using in a slant sieve. This helps is means at a time he can remove a small particles means pure sand from the pebbles and stones easily in a large quantity. Sieving is defined as a method in which two or more components of different sizes are separated from a mixture on the basis of difference in their size. You can ask me, teacher, you said that if they are a large particle, we can pick by hand. But is it possible to separate the sand and stone by hand? No, because we need more time. And here we have less time, but we have to do lot of work. Large quantity can be separated. That is why sieve is used. Okay. Once again, I repeat the meaning of sieving. Sieving is defined as it is a method in which two or more components of different sizes are separated from a mixture on the basis of difference in their size. Okay. See the next method of separation: sedimentation, decantation, and filtration. Sometimes it may not be possible to separate components of mixture by winnowing and hand picking. For example, there may be lighter impurities like dust or soil particles in rice or pulses. There may be lighter impurities like dust or soil particles in rice or pulses. How can we separate it? Let us see. How are such impurities separated from rice or pulses before cooking? Rice or pulses are usually washed before cooking. When you add water to these, the impurities like dust particles get separated. These impurities go into the water. Now, what will sink to the bottom of the vessel? Rice or dust? Already you know that heavier objects will sink at the bottom of the vessel. Here dust is lighter particle whereas rice is heavier. So definitely rice will sink at the bottom of the vessel. Why? Because rice is heavier. Have you seen that vessel is tilted to pour out the dirty water? You can observe it every day while preparing rice. Your mother used to clean the rice with the help of water. Later, she used to tilt the vessel so that the dirty water along with the dust particles will float and it remove from the vessel. And whereas the heavier particle, that is rice, will settle down. Okay, this method is called as sedimentation and decantation. Let us see another example. When the heavier component in a mixture settles after water is added to it, the process is called as sedimentation. Here what happens? It settles down. For example, when we add a glass of water to a rice in a vessel, definitely rice will settle down. The settled item is called as sedimentation. When the water along with the dust is removed, the process is called as decantation. That extra water and dust will treated and removed. That is called as decantation. Let us find a few other mixture that can be separated through sedimentation and decantation. You can see here in a muddy water, if we leave it without disturbing it for half an hour, what happens? Sand or mud will settle down and the lighter particles like dust and water is removed. This settle down thing is called as sedimentation, and the process of removing water along with the dust is called as decantation. See, clear water. Here, sedimentation. Heavier object which settles down at the vessel is called as sedimentation, and the removal of the liquid or the lighter particle along with the water is called as decantation. The same principle is used to separate a mixture of two liquids that do not mix with each other. For example, oil and water from their mixture can be separated by this process. If a mixture of such liquid is allowed to stand for some time, then from two separate layers. They form two separate layers. The component that forms the top layer can then be separated by decantation. For example, take a glass of water and add half water along with that little means half of that quarter oil in that and stir it continuously for 2 minutes. Then stop stirring, keep the glass aside, leave it for 5 to 10 minutes. What happens? That oil will comes up, right? They form two different layers. Then the oil can be taken separately. The topper layer can be separated by the method called as decantation. Let us again consider a mixture of solid and a liquid. After separating tea, what do you do? Remove the tea leaves? Usually we use strainer to remove the tea leaves. Dry decantation. It helps a little, but do you still get a few leaves in your tea? Yes. Now pour the tea through a strainer. Did all the tea leaves remain in the strainer? This process is called filtration. Okay, when we separate solid and liquid through a strainer, all the solid will settle in the strainer and only liquid part will come out. This method is called as filtration. I have a question for you. Which method of separating tea leaves from prepared tea is better? Decantation or filtration? Let us now consider the example of water that we use. Do all of us at all times get safe water to drink? Sometimes water supplied through the taps may be muddy. During rainy season, you can get muddy water in your taps, right? The water collected from ponds or rivers may also be muddy, especially after rains. Let us see if we can use some method of separation to remove insoluble impurities like soil from the water. If it is soluble, it can easily dissolve in the water, which is difficult to separate easily. Here, insoluble impurities from the muddy water can be separated. Let us see which method is going to be used here. Okay, this is activity 5 to find out which method is going to be used to separate the insoluble material from the water, right? Collect some muddy water from a pond or a river. If we are having a nearby pond or river, we can get a water. If it is not available, mix some soil to water in a glass. Take a glass, add 1 spoon of soil to that glass of water. Let it stand for half an hour. Observe the water carefully and note your observation. After half an hour, what you are going to observe, make a note of that. What can be observed? Yes, soil is settled down, whereas the water and soil form two different layers. At the top most, you can see some small dust particles in the glass, right? Very good. Does some soil settle at the bottom of the water? Yes. Why? Means because it is heavier. What will you call this process? This is called as sedimentation because soil has settled down. So, it is sedimentation process. Now, slightly tilt the glass without disturbing the water. Let the water from the top flow into the another glass. Slowly we have to tilt the glass, and only the water has to move to the next glass. What will you call this process? This process is called as decantation. Is the water in the second glass is still muddy or browny in color? Yeah, it may be muddy because only the impurity which is not soluble can be separated here. But now filter it. Did the tea strainer work? Let us try filtering the water through a piece of cloth. Did the tea strainer work? No, because it has a very small hole, so water can easily pass through that. Okay, so instead of that we can use a piece of cloth, white cotton cloth, so that in a piece of cloth small holes or pores remain in between the oven thread. These pores in a cloth can be used as a filter. If the water is still muddy, impurities can be separated by a filter that has even smaller pores. A filter paper is one such a filter that has very fine pores in it. Shows the steps involved in using a filter paper. A filter paper folded in the form of a cone is fixed onto a funnel. The mixture of this is then poured on the filter paper. Muddy water is poured into a filter paper. Solid particles in the mixture do not pass through it and remain on the filter. You can see here the muddy water being separated by cotton cloth or and also by using the filter paper. Here water is poured into a cloth, pure water, clean water is separated, whereas the dust and soil particle is at the top of the cloth. Here you can see a filter paper which allows pure water at the down, and residue is left here, means mud is left here. The white color paper is called as pure filter paper. It is kept in a funnel, and this is the stand. This is called as a beaker. Here in another beaker we have taken a muddy water which is poured into a filter paper. You can see a mud in the filter paper which is completely purified. We can separate the water completely from the mud. Let us see the different application of filtration. Fruits and vegetable juices are usually separated before drinking to separate the seeds and solid particles of pulp. We separate the seeds and pulp from the juice by filtration method. The method of filtration is also used in the process of preparing cottage cheese in our homes. While preparing paneer, filtration method is used. Already you are familiar with this. And you might have seen that for making paneer, a few drops of lemon juice are added to a milk as it boils. For a hot milk, few drops of lemon juice is added. This gives a mixture of particles of solid paneer and a liquid. What happens suddenly when you add a few drops of lemon juice to the milk? You can see the solid particle from the milk will separate and form different layer, whereas the water content from the milk will form different layer. The paneer is then separated by filtering the mixture through a fine cloth or a strainer. You can see in the image the paneer is separated by strainer as well as cloth. What happens here? Extra amount of water, liquid proportion from the paneer is completely removed. So filtration is used not only to purify the water, to separate the seeds and pulps of the juices of the fruits are used to prepare a juice, right? While preparing juice, while purifying the water, while preparing paneer, filtration method is used. Let's see the next method of a separation, that is evaporation. Activity 6. Add 2 spoons of salt to water in another beaker and stir it well. Do you see any change in color of water? See, we need to take 2 spoons full of salt and it is added to a beaker which contains water. After stirring, can we see any change in color? No. Water become colorless. Can you see any salt in the beaker after stirring? No, because salt completely dissolves in water. So we can't see any salt at the bottom of the beaker. Heat the beaker continuously. The salt water which containing the salt water means salt solution is present in the beaker. Now the next step is we need to heat it. Let the water boil away. What is left in the beaker? See, if we keep on heating, what happens? Water converts into water vapor. It changes into gaseous form and escape into the atmosphere. What is left in the beaker? Only white color salty patches is left in the beaker. In this activity, we use the process of evaporation to separate a mixture of water and salt. This process is called as evaporation. See, the process of conversion of water into its vapor is called as evaporation. Here what happens? The liquid form of water is converted into gaseous water vapor. By heating only we can change the liquid into gaseous form, right? This process is called as evaporation. The process of evaporation takes place continuously wherever water is present. Where do you think salt comes from? From where do we get salt? From animal or from plant? Yes, we get it from seawater. Seawater contains many salt mixed in it. One of these salt is the common salt. Different minerals are present in the seawater, but the common salt means the salt which we have in our kitchen is called as common salt. That is also mixed in a seawater. When seawater is allowed to stand in shallow pits, water gets heated by sunlight and slowly turns into water vapor through evaporation. In a few days, the water evaporates completely, leaving behind the solid salts. What happens? Slowly that water keeps on evaporating and along with the soil it leaves salt in the shallow pits. Common salt is then obtained from this mixture of salt by further purification. Later the leftover salt is collected. Later by purifying we get the common salt, that is NaCl. Common salt is sodium chloride which we use in our food daily. Here we can see the procedure of making common salt. Salt is seawater is collected in a shallow pits. After evaporation, it takes a little time. When the water is completely evaporated, the salt is left behind it. You can see this is the evaporation process. From the sun rays falls on the water heats and it boils. Then slowly water converts into water vapor and disappears into the atmosphere. This method is called as evaporation. Evaporation plays an important role in water cycle. When the water is evaporated completely, it leaves salt. You can see the salt here, which is a mixture of many salts. Later, by purifying, we can get the common salt. Okay, when sun rays fall on the water, the liquid water converts into gaseous states, that is water vapor, and slowly it moves into the atmosphere. This method is called as evaporation. The evaporation method in our lab. Let us see one more simple activity. Evaporation, the process of separating dissolved solute particles from a solution by converting the solvent into vapor. Here solute means sugar, salt, any object which can easily dissolve in a water. Whereas solvent means, yes, solvent means the liquid which can dissolve all the solute particles in it. Solute plus solvent is equals to solution. Steps. The solution is heated till all the solvent evaporated. Here salt solution is taken and it is completely heated with a lamp. This is 2-point stand. This is a lamp. It is heated. The water solution is heated, then water will converts into water vapor. The solid component remains behind in evaporating dish. Liquid components is lost. Liquid will completely disappears in the form of water vapor. Only the solid thing is left in the object. Common salt is prepared from the seawater by evaporation. Water gets evaporated by the process of evaporation and common salt is left behind. Okay? By the process of evaporation, we can separate the solute particles from a solution. See here. We can't use hand picking to separate salt from the salt solution. Can you prepare, can you separate a sugar from tea? No. By hand picking? No. By decantation? Not possible. By winnowing, threshing? No. But by using the evaporation method, we can separate the solute particles from the solution. Okay? Little doubt in this, let me clarify that your doubts. Separating solids from liquids. The types of separation depends on whether the solid soluble, insoluble in the liquid, soluble. Solid that dissolve in the liquid to form a solution. Sugar in a tea or coffee. Salt in a seawater. Such things can be separated by evaporation method. Evaporation can be used to separate soluble solids and liquids. By heating, what happens? What extra water will go out. Only the thing left over is the solid substance in a mixture. These all are soluble substance which can't be separated by hand or by filtration or decantation method. Whereas insoluble which doesn't mix with the water and form a solution. Insoluble substances. Solids that do not dissolve are called as insoluble substance. Instead, they sink to the bottom of the liquid. What happens? They sink at the bottom. Can you see mud which is settled down in the beaker? Yes, you can see easily. Whereas, can you see how much amount of salt is dissolved in a salt solution? It is completely difficult because salt is soluble substance. Example, sand and soil in water. Filtration can be used to separate insoluble solids and liquids. Here, if the substance is insoluble, we can use the filtration method. If it is soluble in water, we can use evaporation method to separate the solution, solvent and solution. Okay? This is the different method of separating soluble and insoluble substance. Okay students, it's time to sum up. Still now we have discussed about 4 important methods of separation. First one is sieving. Next, decantation, filtration, sedimentation, and at the last we have discussed about the evaporation. Hope you understood and enjoyed the class. Right? Thank you.